Welcome back and thank you for joining. Once again, my name is Amanda Strotterman, Environmental Justice Manager at Clean Air and Sea. In this video, we will be going over the questions from the Environmental Justice Feedback Survey to inform how Governor Cooper can use his executive powers to advance our state toward environmental justice. If you've not yet viewed part 1 of this video series, you may want to pause now and view the first video as an introduction to this topic. In the second part, we will focus on the survey questions provided by the Governor's Office. The purpose of this video is to give additional context for these 6 questions to provide a little more clarity. As a reminder, if you want to give your input for consideration into the Governor's next executive order, there are 2 options for participation. One option is to attend the listening session, either in person or online. The in-person session is open to the public on June 17th from 12:30 to 3 p.m. at the Camino Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. You can also obtain information on how to participate virtually when you register for the event using the EJ Session 2023 link. If you're not able to attend during that time, you may still choose to participate through the Governor's online feedback survey. Simply use the QR code to the right of this slide or use the NCDEQ survey link. Or you can do both. People attending in person may also choose to answer the survey and have the benefit of multiple ways of giving input. It's important to note that you may skip any of the questions in the survey and offer input on whatever topics feel most important to you. Let's take a look at the survey questions. Question 1. What environmental justice and equity terms require definitions, and what should those definitions be? Environmental justice, or EJ, is one term that the Governor's Office is looking to clearly define. There are also other terms to describe communities facing various inequities. Some terms that might be familiar are impacted community, vulnerable community, or underserved community, among others. The following are a few examples of EJ and equity terms and definitions. The Federal Environmental Protection Agency defines environmental justice as the fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all people, regardless of race, color, national origin, or income, with respect to the development, implementation, and enforcement of environmental laws, regulations, and policies. Furthermore, they state that environmental justice will be achieved when everyone enjoys the same degree of protection from environmental and health hazards and equal access to the decision-making process to have a healthy environment in which to live, learn, and work. 2 terms that are frequently used in government to describe populations or communities are vulnerable and underserved. There are many different contexts for this. For example, when referring to public health, a vulnerable population might have a higher risk for healthcare problems or face hardships that limit care. Comparatively, an underserved population might face accessibility issues such as language barriers or live in locations with fewer healthcare providers. From a more social perspective, there are other ways in which a community can be identified as underserved. The North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality currently identifies potentially underserved communities by examining the race or ethnicity and poverty rates of each block group and comparing them to both the county and the state. By using this combined set of criteria, approximately 25% of North Carolina's block groups meet their definition of potentially underserved communities. Likewise, a population can be labeled socially vulnerable. The EPA describes this as being related to income, racial and ethnic identity, age, and education. These are just a few examples of terms and definitions from state and federal agencies, but it's encouraged that you search for others and comment on what feels appropriate to you. Question 2. What data and information should be included in a statewide community mapping tool, such as the Community Mapping System or Environmental Health Data Dashboard? What should be the purpose of this tool, and who is the target audience? For more context, let's go over a few of these public mapping tools. The North Carolina Community Mapping System is an interactive tool that allows the public to view information for facilities that require a permit from the Department of Environmental Quality. Users may select the types of facilities or permits they wish to view for any part of the state, as well as access information related to that permit or facility. This same tool includes ways to access 3 types of community maps and includes health and demographic dashboards. The NC Department of Health and Human Services has its own tool, the Environmental Health Data Dashboard. This dashboard allows the user to view interactive maps and environmental health data at the state and county levels. Both this dashboard and the community mapping system are the 2 specific tools that the governor's office is referring to in the preface to question 2. However, there are other tools that community members might find useful to inform how they answer the question. For example, EJ Screen is a virtual mapping tool provided by the EPA that can be used to combine environmental and demographic data to highlight areas where populations may be disproportionately impacted by pollution. The Climate and Economic Justice Screening tool has an interactive map and uses data sets that indicate burdens in 8 categories: climate change, energy, health, housing, legacy pollution, transportation, water and wastewater, and workforce development. This information is used to identify communities that are said to be disadvantaged because they are both overburdened and underserved. Disadvantaged communities can benefit from programs included in the Justice 40 initiative, which seeks to deliver 40% of the overall benefits of investment in climate and clean energy to disadvantaged communities. Question 3. What is the best way for the state to notify impacted communities about funding opportunities? And then related to this is question 4. What is the best way for North Carolina to provide technical assistance to local communities and tribes that are applying for funding opportunities? So, how do you prefer to be notified about funding opportunities? And what is the best way for North Carolina to provide assistance to local communities that want to apply for this funding? Question 3 is asking you how you like to get your information. Ways to be notified might be your local newspaper, a radio station, your TV news channel, by receiving postal mail, or by viewing flyers at libraries, churches, or other community bulletin boards. Digital ways to receive notice might be through signing up on email lists or receiving posts through social media. Or for opportunities specific to assisting your local community, perhaps you rely on a nonprofit agency or other local resource. What is the best way for the state to notify you? Question 4 is multifaceted. First, consider what support services are already available in your community that could serve as a channel for the state to work through. Are there any active nonprofit groups in your area that could help support the efforts of your community group? Could certain types of assistance be offered through a local community college, a university, or even a public library? Would online tutorials and videos that could walk you through the process step by step be helpful? These are just a few examples of ways that assistance might be provided. Another aspect of the question might be, what information might you want a government technical expert to provide? Would you want someone to help your group with understanding policy and laws, or help with permits, or understanding environmental monitoring or health research? Perhaps you need assistance with budgeting. There are many ways to answer this question based on the needs of your project and the available services in your community. Question 5. What research into cumulative impacts is necessary to inform agency decision-making? Fence-line communities are constantly dealing with a range of environmental risks from sources like power plants, sewage plants, highways, landfills, and others. Residents in these communities aren't impacted by multiple pollution sources in isolation. Rather, they compound on each other. To truly advance environmental justice, we must take a comprehensive, holistic approach to how these issues affect health and well-being. It is the people who live in overburdened communities who are the ones who can speak best to what is impacting them most, what health issues are of greatest concern, and which neighborhoods and people are most affected. What kinds of research should North Carolina be doing to get at the level of detail needed to make decisions that will improve the lives of overburdened community members and to prevent an increase in those burdens? Furthermore, what do they need to know to begin to reverse these cumulative impacts? Question 6 is an opportunity to speak your mind. What increased benefits are you seeking for your community, or what concerns do you have that you wish to share with the governor's office? There's no word count maximum in the survey, so the sky is the limit. Here's that information for Governor Cooper's EJ session one more time. At Clean Air and Sea, we believe that amplifying the voices of impacted community members has the greatest power to enact positive change. Even with small actions, you can make a difference. Thank you for watching.